Hi, should I take my glasses off? I feel like you can see the green. So I'm just, is it better? I don't know. My hair is, it's going through it, just ignore it. So I wanted to talk about super straights. I know it's, everyone's talking about it at the moment because I feel like everyone's just like, how is this a real thing? At first when I saw it on TikTok, I honestly thought it was like a parody. I thought it was like similar to like spicy straight, which is like, whole nother thing. So I was kind of like, this can't be a real thing. And then I saw that they had a Discord or Reddit, they had rules, they had like a Twitter account, they had a flag, they had like a month that they decided to pick, which is September. It's funny because their flag colors are Grindr's colors, black and orange. Also, another popular adult site has those colors as well. So it's kind of like, what? And the thing is, now that people are well deserved like calling them out on this, they're like, oh no, it was just a joke. Just accept that you went into a movement, which I don't even know if, I saw some people calling it a movement, and that's kind of concerning. And the funny thing to me is when I saw the first TikTok, I think everyone saw this TikTok where the kid is like, it's not because I'm transphobic. And then 1 second later he says something that is transphobic, which I'm not gonna repeat, but he does like the typical transphobic thing of like, you know, and then it was this breeding ground of transphobia. And people always say like, oh, it's just my preference, it's my preference. And it's like, dude, you can have a preference without being transphobic. I know it's mind-blowing, but you literally can. It's like, any other situation, do you go on a date and you don't like this person, do you just sit down and be like, you know what, I am not going to date you anymore because, one, you have an ugly beard, your hair is uneven, you wear nail polish that looks wonky, you have orange hair, you have red shoes, wow, Ronald McDonald, wait, he doesn't have orange hair. Anyways, you do not do that. I would say respected, I guess, but like a nice, well-rounded person is polite and says, you know what, thank you for this date, but I don't think we clicked, you know, or I'm not interested in dating anyone at the moment. Everyone lies. Everyone lies because it's the polite thing. You're not gonna sit there and be like, I saw you and Jesus. No, you're just gonna be like, just wasn't for me. And that's it. There's no reason for you to be transphobic. I do not know why people it jumps out of them. It's like, if it's such a big deal for you to, because the thing is, I hate when transphobes reduce women to birthers. It's like, you do know that there are cis women who are infertile. You do know there are cis women who, you know, have difficulty getting pregnant. And the thing is, to me, it's like, oh my god, they can't have there's adoption, but if you really want like your own like DNA out there, just find someone who wants to birth you. It's like no different than any cis woman. You just ask at the first 2-3 dates, like, hey, do you see kids in your future, like biological kids? And the person's gonna be like, oh no, and then you know, oh, I can't date them. Or they'll be like, oh yeah, and you'll be like, okay, then we're on the same page. Everyone does this. There's no reason for you to be transphobic. There's no reason for that to jump out of your soul. You just be like any normal person and be like, hey, let's talk. Do you want kids? Do you want biological kids? Is that in our cards? Even though we've been dating for like 3, like, you can bring it up on the second date. You can just be like, hey, so what's your future like? Do you like, are you like marriage? Like blah, blah, blah. Not putting yourself in it, just asking genuinely. And then the person will be like, oh, like, I don't know about kids, I don't think so. And then you're like, okay, since kids are very important to me, I'm not gonna date this person. I know, that easy. No one is harping on you for having a preference. I was gonna use quotation marks, but I don't know how to use quotation marks good, so I'm not gonna use them. No one is harping you for that. People are harping you for your transphobia. I saw this one post that was just, again, reducing women to birthers. He was like, we want women who can birth a child. I know your mom's disappointed in birthing you. Imagine you spending 9 months like cultivating a child. You have back pain, you have knee pain, you have foot pain, you have nausea, you can't eat, you have heartburn, you can barely breathe, you can't lay on your back, you can't lay on your front, you're crying because you're emotional or you're angry. You have to push out a 6 to 8 pound baby out of you know where, and then it comes out and says stupid stuff like that women are reduced to their birthing capabilities. What the heck? What the freak? What the fudge is this? Like, I saw that and I was just like, why? So for all of you who are like, how do I say this without being transphobic? Like you would any other date that you didn't pan out. Like any other day. You just say, hey, we didn't click. Sorry. I just, and then you move on. You go on another date. And you restart the cycle until you find the girl or the person that you want to date. That simple. It's that easy. But the moment you say something transphobic, don't act surprised when people call you transphobic. I hate to sound all like peace and love. I genuinely don't understand how people are transphobic, homophobic, xenophobic, and racist. I don't get it. We're all the same. Like I said, I know that sounds very peace and love, but we really are all the same. The only thing that's different is someone, when they were developed outwards and inwards. And you probably know what I mean. I'm talking about downstairs. Other than that, we are literally the same. Everything else is the same. Same thing. All humans are the same. We only have like differences like skin tone and hair and eye color, but other than that, same. But we are so unempathetic. I feel like, I don't know if it's because of like the panoramic, I don't know if what, but I feel like humans and a lot of people, at least on Western, like the US and like some countries in South America, are becoming so unempathetic. Like people cannot empathize unless they're related to someone, and it's like, why? Like I saw a post on Facebook which I commented. I'm never going to go on Facebook anymore because it's a cesspool. But it was talking about the minimum wage in the US, and so it was talking about the 7 Democrats who voted against raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And I was like, they should live off this minimum wage then, like the ones who voted against it. And I got comments being like, why should I pay $15 minimum wage to people who flip my burgers? I'm not your mom, so I can't teach you empathy, but the fact that no one taught you empathy, you can't even teach. Can you teach empathy? I have no idea. I feel like that's an innate thing that people just empathize. How would, because we're human. It's like, get a better job. That's not realistic. And this one person commented, where I live, there's this like town that has like this company that pays really well. People work there. I'm like, cool, but that's one town, one location. What about the rest of the world or the rest of the country? And they're like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. Dude, you should care just because we're people. I know, surprising, but it should be like that. For example, going back to the whole what I was talking about, super streets. I have this bad habit of going when I'm talking about things, so my brain isn't linear. My eyes just went meh. For example, where I live, there was this kid, 16-year-old. He got his hand macheted off, right? By his neighbor who was 17, because his neighbor was homophobic. That is why I hate when people are like, oh my god, the alphabet mafia is so sensitive. Like, everyone accepts LGBT. No. Stop living in your bubble of your country. And the thing is, even the US, do you know the amount of statistics of trans women dying, being murdered? It's very high. Trans women, I think they only reach to like 33 years of age, and then they just all like, well. In other countries, people are getting their hands macheted off. People are dying. Like, in my country, a lot of trans women end up murdered. A lot of them. There are not a lot of resources. People are very uneducated because what you can't see, you don't know. And people don't take the next step to look up online to, let me look up a YouTuber or an influencer who is trans or who is gay, who is a lesbian, who is X, Y, and Z, who I can see and be like, let me learn from them. Because there are people out there who are creating content to teach, but some people just don't look it up. And so they don't know. So they think it's something from the devil, or it's exorcism, or it's like... Anyways, what was I saying? I talked about exorcism and my mind went to like all the movies. Yes, so there are countries where if you are like lesbian, gay, transgender, you are either being killed, murdered, arrested, you're being kicked out of your home, you're being shunned by your family. Like, this isn't like, I think that's why some people, homophobic and just average Joes, do not understand. They think that being gay is a preference. Because I'm seeing that people are being like super straight, they're like, it's my preference. And it's like, do you think being gay is a preference? Do you think I was like, you know what? I want to be potentially hate crimed. I want to be potentially shunned by my family. I want to potentially, you know, be harassed. Like, it'll be fun. No one thinks like that. No one, and I think that's where the disconnect. I think some people genuinely believe that you're being gay or a lesbian or anything for fun. To like belong to a community, and it's like, no. For example, me, when I came out to my parents have never said a homophobic thing. They, like, my mom's talked about when she was like, you know, younger, she had gay friends and all these things, so I was like, you know, there was nothing to me to indicate that they were like, you know. But when I was gonna come out to them, I cried. I wrote them a letter. Dude, I thought that someone was behind me. I wrote them a letter, the whole shebang, and because there's this innate fear, because you see in society and social media so many cases of people being shunned by family members, being shunned by moms, being like, you're not my kid again anymore. And it's like, for example, sorry, I say for example a lot. When I was born, my mom said the only thing she cared about was, is she healthy? Does she have 10 fingers and 10 toes? Good? Cool. That's it. She's like, I don't have any expectations for you. That sounds so mean. I mean, she's like, so when I was a kid, she was like, I want you to be a doctor, but that doesn't mean I'm going to force you. If you do what you want and you do what makes you proud, and I'll be proud. And so I don't understand these people who are parents or guardians or whatever and are like, love you forever, baby, child. And then they grow up and they're like gay and they're like, oh my god, no. That means you never loved them. You truly didn't love them, because if you loved your child, you would love them no matter what. Obviously, I'm excluding if they're like serial killers, but like, and the worst thing is that I see some moms who their kids are serial killers and they're like, still care about them. Imagine a serial killer mom having the balls to love her kid, and you, because you're homophobic. Is this like a straw man theory? Or is this like no correlation? I'm finding it like, wow, but maybe it has no correlation. But anyways, I feel like we could do so much better if we were just kinder to each other, if we were nicer to each other, if we just empathized with each other more and actually stuck up for each other. But it's like everyone's fighting tooth and nail for some reason. For what? I don't know. It's like my favorite video game is Mass Effect, and I really love the aspect of humanity being one, because obviously in Mass Effect there's like the Turian, the Krogan, the Solarian, the Sari, so there's like other like alien races, and so humanity has to be together because that's them. And so that's why people are like, oh my god, I wish we had aliens. When I saw mutants like X-Men, I was like, oh my god, I wish we had wings. But then I'm like, we can't even accept people with different skin tones. We would never have mutants. Dude, why am I hearing things? Jesus. Anyways, sorry. So yeah, sorry, this was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But I feel like sometimes I'm a little disappointed, a little, like, I get like disappointed, I said that already, in humanity, because I just lose my faith sometimes in us as people, because it's 2021 and people are still homophobic or still transphobic, and proudly so, and I just don't get it. And it's like, why don't you learn? Why don't you open your heart? If you're like, I see people use religion to like, oh, I can't because that's against my religion. Isn't your religion to love your neighbor? Isn't your religion to like love everyone or something? Like, why are you putting so much hate? Do you really think your God wants that? I don't know, man. I don't want to talk too much into religion because, you know, my leg is asleep. But yeah, I guess this is it. This is my little rant sit down video that has no structure, and I talked about A, B, C, D, E, F, G topics into one. Got scared twice by who knows what's behind me. I do not know. Sorry. So yeah, super straights. Embarrassing. Tip for not being transphobic: don't be. Stop reducing women to birthers. Dude, why am I hearing things? If you don't want to date someone who's trans, you don't have to. Just be nice about it. You don't gotta be transphobic. Be empathetic. Be nice. Advocate for people. And I gotta go because my foot's asleep and it's making me very uncomfortable. And the fact that I hear things behind me is also very uncomfortable. So I'm gonna go. Sorry that this video was very like, my head is huge. Sorry. Bye. So, hi. So, I just finished filming, and then I went to Twitter because I was like, I'm gonna look up for my thumbnail stuff. And then I saw that Blair White did a TikTok basically saying that she supports the super straight community. Because she's like, how am I to tell someone who doesn't want me to date me because I'm trans? I can't do that. But she's like, and I don't know why people are criticizing it from a community that comes out with a new sexuality every 5 seconds. Why? Why the need to, why validation from a transphobic community? So I'm not going to talk about it because obviously I'm not trans, but just having Blair White, who is notorious for kind of supporting a lot of transphobic people and for not researching videos that she says that she researched. For example, when she said a trans athlete, trans woman who was still competing in female competition when she wasn't, and she said that she was, and she didn't, she just kept the video up. And yeah, so yeah, a lot of misinformation has been exposed that she just gets like, oh, my favorite one was when there was this video of pep play and she took it as someone's gender, and the only coincidence was that the pep play, you know, person who was into pep play happened to be trans. That was it. They weren't identifying as a dog in the sense of like gender. They were identifying as a dog in the context of BDSM. And Blair was just spread this like wildfire saying that this person identified as an actual dog. And people in the comments were eating them alive, being like, oh, well, if they identify as a dog, I identify as a attack helicopter. I'm... no comment. I just wanted to add that at the end of the video because... wow. Wow.